Good morning, Opening Pathways viewers. This is Tom LeNoble. It's great to be with you again. I'm so excited about my guest today. I have to, in full disclosure, tell you that she's a good friend and I'm her client. And here I am interviewing her on my podcast. Today we have Molly Rose Speed, and she is with Co-Pilot Consulting. And I like to define her as the expert of everything. I go to Molly Rose about any and everything. If she doesn't have the answer, she finds it. If she doesn't find it, she still finds it. Molly Rose, it is a delight to have you here today on Opening Pathways. Welcome.
Hi, Tom. I'm so excited to be here and have this conversation with you. You're one of my
Yes,
favorites.
wonderful. And you are my favorite as well. So we're just going to have a good time here today. So I'd love for us to start out if you would share a little bit about Copilot Consulting and also some of the other things that you do, because you're a Kajabi expert. You started a virtual assistant um, academy that is thriving and exciting, and there's so much to talk to you about. But let's start with this Copilot Consulting and tell us about it. And I also want to know what sparked your idea to even start it.
Yes, absolutely. So about 13 years ago, I found myself in a corporate job that I hated, and I was young enough to see the headlights and realize this isn't the path that I wanted to take for the rest of my life. I was marrying someone in the military who's also a pilot, and I took a quick shift and became what we all know now as a virtual assistant. 13, 14 years ago, that term was not what it is today. I didn't even realize what I was doing. And I got my first client. And it just snowballed into this world of online business and supporting online business owners and entrepreneurs, and then teaching military spouses mostly how to do the same thing. So that birthed the Virtual Assistant Academy and then my agency placing virtual assistants. And the term co-pilot came around because I thought, I'm a co-pilot of my pilot husband. So a little play on words, but also I'm the co-pilot in everyone's business. So I help you navigate and get things done. So that's where we are today. So I
I
support
love it.
business
I
owners.
love it. So tell me, you started this, and there had to be a moment when you said, yes, this is it. I realize this is my path. What was it?
I think when I started working, this is small, when I started working with business owners at the very, very beginning and realizing the impact I was having and the gratitude and the words of affirmation I was getting from them. It wasn't necessarily the financial, because I didn't replace my corporate income for three to 4 years. It took some time to really get that going. But it was the gratitude and, oh my gosh, I couldn't do this without you. Oh my gosh, I breathe better when Molly Rose is in the room. Like things like that I was like, wow, I have a gift that I didn't know that I had coming out of college.
Yes, well, you do have a gift, because I remember the first time I met you, which was in a room, and all I kept saying to myself, and then I started writing it down on a piece of paper in front of me, is I need to work with this person. And I'm very blessed that I am today. So tell me, we get on these paths, and something happened way back, or maybe not way back, but back, where we either had role models or something in our life that is what got us on this journey and why we end up doing the things we do, especially when it's something we are engaged with and love doing. Who were those role models for you?
Yes. So before I quit my job, I attended a conference called Succeed Faster. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was led by our dear friend, Adam Carroll. And I learned for the first time, again, this is all 15 years ago, and the buzz of starting your own business wasn't what it is today. I learned the term entrepreneur. I didn't know that you could do that. You could create a business on your own. They don't teach you that in college. They teach you to get a degree and go get your job that's going to pay you well and go on your path. And so leaving that conference, my brain was just kind of like, wait, you mean I can do whatever I want to do? And it opened something in me. So when I went back to my desk job, nothing was the same. I just realized really quickly that I can't do this. I can't do this the rest of my life. And I I took what I think is one of the biggest risks that I had, and when I quit cold turkey, and that person, Adam, became my first client. So he's been probably my defining mentor throughout my life, whether it's career and having me grow alongside his business, and also his financial wherewithal and education has completely shifted my financial state because that's what he teaches. So I'd say of all the mentors, him, and then later in life, I now have Patty Aubrey, who was the founder of Chicken Soup for the Soul, co-founder, and having her in my older years as a woman has been also really defining.
Yeah. So, viewers, I want you to know that you're going to see a podcast coming up shortly with Adam Carroll. Adam is a professional speaker and he started something called the Shred Method. And I encourage you to watch for that because it's a great podcast. You might even want to watch it more than once. It was really great. And of course, if you don't know who Patty Aubrey is, I suggest you find out. An amazing, dynamic leader who
Mhm.
I'm really pleased that I've been able to be in her circle and get to know her better over time. So, Molly Rose, tell me, this all started, you got it moving, things are moving along. Did you ever doubt your vision?
No, no, it certainly changed, but no, it just small moments of success kept coming, so it was validating me going, yeah. I,
Excellent,
I
excellent.
think okay, if I had to be honest, I think there were some moments where I did have, oh, I should go back to the job board. I should look at the
Yes.
jobs. But it was very short-lived.
Good, good, good. So tell me, if somebody was watching you back, let's say in your corporate days, and they saw what you're doing today, what would surprise them? What would they think?
Um, they probably think, where was she hiding this potential, you know? I think when you work in corporate America, they kind of put you in a box and we have to do a certain job. And when you're on your own and you're working in online business, you can develop so many different skill sets and then use them because you can hold the role of marketing and finance and web development. Whereas in a job, you're just one of those things. So yeah, I think they're probably looking at like, oh, where was she then?
Where was that? Where was that, right? Where was that hiding all this time? So tell me, I want to know, what did you learn about trust along this journey?
I learned how important it is to trust myself. I think over anyone else. It's your gut and your intuition, um, and trusting the process of what's going to unfold before you. I think is the most important thing there. Yeah.
Good, good. So I know you're involved with a lot of technology. That's one of the things that I love about you. And what I love is you have a very convincing way with me anyway, and I'm sure others of convincing when there's something in a shift that needs to be made. And what I'm interested in is when you're working with people and how you feel about this as well. You know, we're in this time where technology is racing forward with AI and it gets controversial at times, but I look at it, I remember watching the first fax machine and thinking it was magic. And then we got email, and that was like, oh my God, our world's changed. And then the internet, and then social media, and these things happen. Well, AI is like almost bigger than many of those, even though it probably felt that big along the journey. So, how are people and how are you balancing keeping up with the newest technology and sustainability? You know, all of it costs a lot. And how do we keep the lights on and embrace the new technology as well?
Yes, I love technology. I've gotten to learn uh, hundreds of softwares over this career that I've built for myself. And as we develop, I think the exciting thing for me is we're coming out with tech that, for one subscription, I can get a lot of things done. Whereas in the past, I'd have to connect five different softwares or pieces of technology to achieve one thing. Now we have systems that can do all of it under one platform. And then adding in the AI element is just putting people like me on autopilot. What I used to do in 2 hours can now be done in 5 minutes. if I'm using the tool and learning it. So what I tell my virtual assistant team or even clients is we have to continue to learn it. We can't fight against it and think that this isn't for us, especially with AI, because it's such a powerful tool that it's changing all of us if you've used it. So yeah, I'm excited about where it's all taking us.
Good, good, good. Tell us something. What was a risky decision you made that paid off?
A risky decision. I let a client go a long time ago, and that was terrifying. It was a big one, relationship, and I had to, and it was traumatizing, and I had tears and all of that. But by releasing work that no longer served me, it opened up the door for a new client and a new opportunity that I never could have imagined. So that to me at the time was a big risk. You don't know if you're going to replace that income in that project, but I did tenfold. So that's the one that comes to mind.
Now, viewers, you know that I'm big on risk and resilience, so you might want to do a little rewind and hear about how taking a risk and what can happen when we take these risks sometimes. So tell me, there's times when we're in our businesses and it comes this point where we either have to pivot or push through. How do you make those decisions?
To me, it's my gut and my intuition. This is something that Miss Patty Aubrey taught me really by watching her do it. Uh, and if you have that feeling where you have to make a change, however, everyone else is telling you that this is how it needs to be done and this is the path that you need to have happen, it's really important. Every time I don't listen to my gut, I regret it. So I think that's kind of how I make the pivot or the change. So, for example, right now I'm making a big business decision with my VA company, and I'm thinking, okay, what's the shift? Something has to change here, and I'm not forcing it. I'm kind of just waiting and seeing, what's unfolding, and waiting for my gut to tell me this is the next path versus having to make a decision and pushing through something that I shouldn't be.
Good, good. I think
Yeah.
what I'm hearing there is to make sure we listen to ourselves as well as sometimes things aren't fully cooked, that making a decision that may
Hmm.
just not be time, right? Right? To
Yeah.
have a little patience and see what's surfaced.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I have learned, especially in my corporate career, that some of my biggest mistakes turned into my biggest successes. What was I thought the sky was falling and the end of everything turned out to be the precipice of something that was going to be huge. Did you ever have a time like that?
Uh, yeah, I think in small ways, if I made mistakes through, this is going to sound maybe silly to some, but I work in tech. That's my online software game. So if I was ever making a mistake utilizing the wrong tools or, and by mistake, I mean hours of work, right? Hours of billable client work that I was doing, that then by pushing through all of that, doing it the wrong way forced me to learn better tools and better ways of doing things, and that's gotten me to where I am today, usually using one software that has changed my life, honestly. So yes, and in small ways in my world, mistakes happen all the time, but they're always a good thing, right? Leading at the time, I think they're catastrophic, but they always have a good outcome for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think this piece of software you're talking about, this platform is Kajabi, am I right?
Yes, sir.
I think that, I don't know if you want to say it on this podcast, but I think you have some sort of, you're an expert. I think you have a high level of certification in it, and I think you have some sort of offer. Do you want to feature it right now while we have a moment?
Yeah, yeah. So kind of what I've been talking about with my career is when I said, used to take five systems to do one thing. That's what Kajabi has done for me and my clients. So Kajabi is an online platform that allows you to run your business from start to finish, everything from having a website to courses to taking payment to having your email marketing system to a podcast to a coaching platform to a community, all with one membership. And so I've I've really taken the time over the past 3 to 5 years to become a defining expert in this software. I've worked with the company, I've presented there. It's been a really amazing journey. And now I help others not only be successful on the platform and take on client work, but we also certify people as Kajabi experts through a program that I have. So I'm trying to create an army of Kajabi experts and users because it's just been an amazing platform. So I have a program
Yeah.
called Kajabi Mastery and some great ways to get started.
Well, we're going to tell people later how they reach you, but it looks like you like creating armies. You've got an army of virtual assistants, now an army of Kajabi experts. Let's get back to you.
Okay.
Want to know something? How do you define success? I'm not talking about metrics. How do you personally define success for Molly Rose?
Success for me isn't financial. It's being able to do what I want when I want. So when I wake up and I get to work on a project that I'm excited about, I get butterflies. And it's like Monday morning, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Um, and that includes being able to travel a little bit more. But it's not that I get to travel and not come back to my desk and do the work. I really enjoy that. So it's being successful is being happy in the work that I do every day and how I'm living my life. And I think I've found it. So it's really exciting.
That's the best, right? It's
Hmm.
such a component, I think, in life of how much time we spend and doing whatever it is that our profession is, and how important it is that we not just get by or even like it, that we really are engaged and feel like we love it. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
So tell me, what values are non-negotiable for you?
Uh, Freedom is the first. I I actually have a post-it note that I'm staring at right now that's really important to me. Integrity is a huge value of mine. I teach on that. I probably say the word integrity 3 times a day when I'm on calls with people. Um, that's really important. And then I think the word that comes to mind is quality, like just doing great work. And whether it's quality in my work, quality in how I spend my time with my family and my husband. But that's a big part of what I do and how I do things.
Good. How do you balance being a leader, because you are one? How do you balance being a leader with being a learner?
Okay, that's a great question. Um, so I think that as a leader, in order to be successful, I have to always be learning, especially in my field, because tech is always and software is always changing and AI. So if I'm not learning all of these things to then be able to lead my team or my clients to be successful, then I'm failing. I'm failing them completely. So it just goes hand in hand. We have to always work on ourselves, always work on this thing between our eyes here. And I think that's a big part of what I do every day.
Good, good. I want to know, and I know the viewers do at this point, what's the boldest vision for the next 5 years?
Oh my goodness, Tom. The boldest vision. Um, I'm at the moment, I have a few things. I'm going all in on this platform that I shared with you. So I really want to amplify users of Kajabi because I really think that it does streamline an entrepreneur's life and creates freedom and passive income and all the beautiful things that I think we all deserve. And then I want to I want to continue to help as many military spouses as I can find virtual, rewarding, high-paying work. We're displaced. We're moved around the country usually or the world, and having this career has changed my life and those that I've worked with. So I need to continue that mission and make that
It's a
bigger.
great mission. What a great mission.
Hmm.
Really, you're taking care of the people that serve our country,
Hmm.
and nobody serves our country better than the spouses of those that are in service.
Thank you.
So tell me, when the going gets tough, what keeps Molly Rose inspired?
When the going gets tough, I think great people. So, you know, when you get to this part in my career, I do discovery calls a lot for work. and I have to say no, or I have to kind of refer people. And I think that by choosing to work with mission driven individuals that I just genuinely love getting on the phone with and having conversations and building their business for them, that's what keeps me going. It's conversations with great people every week, even though we have mountains of work to do. It's it's the people.
Yes, yes, yes. What are you most hopeful about for the world today?
Oh, um, I th- I I think that we all have the opportunity to be genuinely happy. And a lot of that I learned as a young age, at a young age, that we are in control of what that is for us. And so I'm hopeful that more and more people in the world can understand that we hold the power. It's not outside of us. And so I hope that over, the next 5 to 10 years, that amplifies, because when we're all happy walking around together and habitating on this planet, I think it just creates a lot of peace and goodness.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So tell me, I'm interested to know, let's say there's somebody there listening to this podcast and they're in that corporate job and they're thinking and they've got this dream to follow and they don't know whether they're going to take the step forward or not, or whether they're going to take that risk we've been talking about. What words of wisdom would you share with somebody that's, thinking about that, and an emerging leader, an emerging someone that's thinking about doing something like you've done? What would you share with them?
So, as a cautious risk taker, I am very conservative when it comes to taking the leap. And and I always say, with these tools that we have and how we can build businesses now, we can start with baby steps, right? We don't have to jump off the cliff and quit the job. We can start, validate what it is we're doing, and then take the leap into this. So, my message is just get into action and start doing something. So, whether that's starting to do virtual work on the side because you know that you don't want to do the corporate job and show up 9 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 6 these days anymore. Um, it looks like getting your first client and getting started. Or if you're a business owner with a great idea, it looks like getting that online and starting to see a first sale or two come in and validating your idea and just going for it. I think it's all very doable. We just have to get into action.
Cool. We're another more words of wisdom here, viewers. So do you think there's a current trend going on that people are underestimating, something that's maybe in your mind really going to be big that people just aren't catching on to it yet? Anything like that brewing around?
What comes to mind, especially conversations I've had just this week, is, with AI, the conversation I have is it's going to replace all of our businesses. This is going to go away. We're just going to use ChatGPT as our coaches. And I think we're all still craving, especially post pandemic, the human connection. And so I think that's going to pick up faster than I hope it's going to pick up faster than we think. And I kind of see it happening in conversations I'm having that I didn't see coming. So this whole AI is going to replace us. I don't think is real, because I think we're still going to crave the human relationship and advice and data and all of that from each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fortunate I get to in this podcast talk to a lot of tech CEOs and founders, many of them in AI. And I'm going to say that the things people are working on are vast, from healthcare to math to psychology, not just the stuff we're even thinking about. And one person, their whole business is based on collaborative AI, this idea that someone's sitting next to you and they're making you more efficient, they're making you more effective to do the
Mhm.
things you want to do. And that relationship, it reminds me of when I had an assistant once, and the company policy was if you got moved in the company, you couldn't take your assistant. as I got promoted and relocated, I would look at them and say, well, if Cassie can't go, I'm not going. And they go, well, there's a company policy. I guess can't go. But Cassie always was there. And of having this kind of, I think of it the same way, somebody that just makes you better at what you're doing. And I think AI has a lot of possibility that for us.
Yeah.
So tell me, what does next level look like for Molly Rose Speed?
So as the supporter of business owners, you're in the background, right? So my job is amplifying other people's businesses or getting virtual assistants to start businesses and amplify. And over the years, from my perspective, others might not say this, I feel like I've been hiding. It's not my voice out there all the time. It's not me actually sharing my expertise. And so that's what I've been kind of trying to focus on internally, kind of shifting and owning I am an expert. I am really good at what I do, and then figuring out how to share that with others more fully instead of just
Wonderful.
hiding in the client work.
I hope so. I tell you, my experience of you is that your voice is not only strong, clear, accurate, but always has been welcomed for me. So tell me this. Your younger self is watching this podcast. What would you tell her?
Oh, I would tell her to get more involved at a young age, right? I think uh in my older age, I've gotten into I say yes to almost any opportunity and everything that comes my way. And when I was younger, I didn't do that. I was cautious. I worked a lot and I didn't get involved the way I wish I would have. And I wonder what interests and extracurricular, if you will, things that I would have experienced in high school and college if I would have done that. Um, and just to see where that took me. I was very linear. I followed a path. I was a finance grad. I was the VP of finance for my sorority. That was my path. And it's like we have all these other things that we can be interested in. And with that time when you're young, I tell that person to use it, read different books, do different art classes, get involved with different organizations in school. And that's, I think, super important that I kind of regret. So now I'm
Very
doing it.
good, good, good. Molly Rose Speed, has been great to have you on Opening Pathways today. Please tell the viewers how they can find you.
Yes. So pretty easy. mollyrosespeed.com is my catch-all for everything that I've talked about. My courses, my academy, and my placement agency is virtualassistantmanagement.com.
There you go. Well, it's been a delight having you on Opening Pathways today. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and to my viewers, this is Opening Pathways with Tom LeNoble, and I'll see you next time.